Greetings and an exceptionally warm welcome to Peru Place, broadcasting as always from the most enchanting island in the world, Cyprus. I am Peru, and today we are delving into a new game that was launched this week, Pub Sim. A heartfelt thank you to First Impact Games for generously providing us with the access key. Now, let's delve into the game and embark on the journey of opening our very own pub. I hope you thoroughly enjoy this video, and if you do, please consider supporting this channel with a thumbs up, ringing the bell, and perhaps even subscribing. Thank you immensely. Yes, dear friends, here we are already situated in the heart of the pub, and I am genuinely intrigued to see if I can successfully manage this. It is one of the few games I explored beforehand simply because there is no tutorial available, none that guides you through and introduces you to the basics. You will notice later we have a computer here in the pub's office with some texts to peruse. You won't be introduced to that within the game, so we will have to figure out how to manage. A brief warning, the game is currently only available in English and Hungarian, but I am hopeful that more languages will be added in the future. And yes, I believe there is not much more to elaborate on at this moment. We are initiating a new game, so please disregard the old game. That was merely to get me acquainted. And then we will commence our career as pub proprietors. I am eager to see if it will be successful. The Hound and Her is apparently our initial pub. Well, in the photograph, it appears somewhat better, I must honestly confess. Okay, congratulations on acquiring this fine property. You will undoubtedly find it worthwhile. Yes, he acknowledges the house was in better condition, but with a bit of cleaning, everything will look nearly as good as new. Yes, here is the computer mentioned, where we can place orders, such as goods orders, and manage all facets of our job. I am curious about that. Yes, of course, we should be cautious not to exhaust all our funds at once and face bankruptcy. We also have a few individuals we need to pay off. I assume we must have taken out a loan. Well, then I would undoubtedly say, let's proceed and get started with it. Let's head on inside. So indeed, this item has most certainly experienced more favorable days, particularly the lamp here. Oh dear. Well, alright, let's proceed inside. It can only get better. It can only get better. Oh my goodness, indeed, it unquestionably possesses quite an unsettling and eerie quality. Does it appear improved if we switch on the light? No, not particularly. Alright, we can definitely begin the cleaning process immediately. Yes, it's a promising start for our new venture. And in some places, indeed, the wind is audibly whistling through here because the windows are quite drafty. Oh dear. Yes, we will first see to it that we get rid of these disgusting cobwebs everywhere, all these stains. I don't even want to know. No, I don't want to know what that is. Certain matters are best kept discreet, to be entirely honest. So, additional cobwebs. Let's definitely mention cobwebs here, and even more cobwebs. Repugnant stains and even more nauseatingly revolting stains. Okay. So, coincidentally, there exists a controller configuration that is accessible for the game, which operates quite effectively up until you encounter the counter, but I will inform you about that particular aspect when the suitable time arrives. So, theoretically speaking, it is indeed possible. Well, they can theoretically play the game using a controller, and it functions effectively. Indeed, that is the question. Naturally, does the publisher have any plans to bring it to gaming consoles? I am not certain. As I mentioned earlier, it is currently available initially on Steam for PC, and we shall see what the future holds. Therefore, there is definitely additional work planned on the game, with expansions, a casino, and who knows what else I have read about. The guys have somewhat of a plan. As I previously mentioned, there are two individuals working in this studio, and indeed they have quite a journey ahead of them, so there happens to be a keg of beer lying around. Is that correct? Is this our welcoming gift? All right, we shall initially transport it to its proper location. Right here underneath the counter. This is rather traditional. Consequently, you cannot truly go wrong with that. So, We have now tidied up this particular area. Is it sufficiently clean? Certainly, you are permitted to take it. Therefore, we still possess a tablet, so let's take a quick look at it. Furnishings, along with furniture, walls, flooring, and ceilings. Furniture becomes visible solely after we have successfully acquired it. At this point, we have the option to purchase flooring indeed. However, I would suggest that we hold off on spending for the moment. It would be wise to accumulate some funds, build up a reserve, and so forth, because relying solely on a single keg of beer won't suffice for the time being. I suppose we shall proceed onward. Oh my goodness, are you genuinely serious about this matter? Am I truly expected to work under these circumstances? That's entirely and absolutely revolting. All right. Well, I am quite resilient, but that is an utterly revolting situation. Nevertheless, this here is our office, compact yet quite pleasant. Well, it's not especially nice, but rather compact, and there's our computer, which we have only just recently read about. Thus, here we have the furniture establishment where, as the designation suggests, you are able to purchase furniture items. Mr. Liquor is our esteemed beverage provider. Concerning the financial institution, it's evident that you have the opportunity to obtain a loan. I sincerely hope to avoid it as much as feasibly possible. Real estate, please hold on for just a moment. That includes everything associated with the building, encompassing the front repairs. Consequently, I presume the 200 should be designated for the business front. Otherwise, absolutely no one will enter, truly. Observe that it is already radiating magnificently from the exterior in its former splendor. The hound and she, in collaboration with the lamp, have been carefully and thoroughly restored, and they now appear wonderfully magnificent. Indeed, it was undoubtedly worth it to me, and that is entirely satisfactory. So, what further plans do we have in store? Management, indeed, there remains a substantial amount that is limited, obstructed, alluring, or however you prefer to express it. Here we have STEP, which refers to employees, whom we evidently cannot afford at this moment. Here we have licenses. We possess a beer license and a draft license, so indeed, let's say for draft beers and bottled beers. And here we possess additional licenses, which are considerably expensive, so we will need to wait a little longer, specifically for, well, spirits, I shall say, and wine for the enthusiasts among us. And that is essentially everything there is to it in this context. Over in this section, we have the management of employees, where we are capable of assigning various tasks, as we can observe in this instance. In this particular section, we have warehouse workers, which I find quite intriguing, and bar managers. These represent three distinct types of employees we might consider hiring at a later stage. So here, we have bartenders and special assignments for unique beverage creations. Following that, we have the warehouse employees and the manager of the bar. Indeed, but that is all still quite distant. I believe we must initially handle everything on our own here. We need to navigate through this, don't we? Let us remain at the computer for the time being, because I believe that with merely one solitary keg of beer, we will not be able to make significant progress. I have noticed that we possess 3 taps, and we currently own just one keg. That was the one with the O and the C, specifically this cost us draft. In that case, I would suggest that we take another one of those. The others are significantly more expensive here. Let's commence with the Bain draft, the Cannes draft, as well as the Lennisburg draft. Certainly. Perhaps a bottle or two of beer? Let's examine this closely. Cool, slide, and double. These options are also the most affordable. Absolutely, indeed. And yes, you observe this right here? We are unable to buy wine and spirits since we lack the appropriate license for it. That's quite clear. Here we have various items. In this section, we have the option to acquire empty beer crates. Yes, perhaps we might require them for tidying up, although I'm not entirely certain. They are quite affordable at the moment. I'll just order 2. All right. Indeed, I believe that is the case. Oh, hold on a moment. We still require furniture, correct? We still require furniture. Antiquated freezer or refrigerator? That's precisely the identical model. Observe it closely. That's the exact one we possess. No, I'm not purchasing that. There exists something more modern available. Hold on. No, nevertheless, we can definitely still expand the bar. Was there a particularly notable plant with a divider in this specific location? A truly distinguished plant? Are you genuinely being serious right now? Let's take a leading plant. Yeah, how am I supposed to imagine that? Wandering through misery and suffering, I don't know. Anyway, we'll just take some simple equipment here. Let's go ahead and take 2 tables and then let's pause for a moment to contemplate. Certainly. Let's move forward and obtain those items. Let's proceed and acquire 8 chairs at this juncture, and I am confident that should be sufficient for the present moment. That is indeed quite satisfactory. Therefore, at this point, we possess a total of $1,671.52. I sincerely hope that I have invested them wisely. Initially, we have successfully secured this location, which entails renovations for the ceiling, flooring, and walls. I'll spare the hassle for the time being. I see the pallet outside already. They're fast with deliveries, right? So what do we have here? Legs can. Let's position this correctly right in this spot. Precisely in that particular manner. And where exactly is the other one associated with this specific pallet delivery? It somewhat reminds me of the Supermarket Simulator video game. Alright, let's place Costas, Beineken, and Lennisburg onto the designated area, and we need to assign them to the tap right here. Let's proceed with that promptly. Let us transport Costas Beineken to this specific location, and hopefully I will not confuse them. They appear quite similar with the green Beineken and Lennisburg, but regardless, excellent, we already have them. Fits perfectly. Very nice indeed. Could you clarify exactly what these particular containers are? Are they, by any chance, bottled beers? Certainly, those are indeed the bottled beers. I initially presumed they would be delivered in a crate, but it appears they must be stored in the refrigerator, so, alright, just go ahead and place them in. So, bam, at this point we still need to dispose of the box. Alright, well, the trash receptacles are already illuminated. I'm quite surprised that we do not have our own trash receptacles within the store. It's somewhat peculiar. Well, perhaps we could purchase one at a later time. I'm not entirely sure. All right, my dear companions. Let us move forward with the subsequent round, which presents the blue light beer. All right, then we shall dispose of these items once more. So, and here we indeed have the empty boxes. Where should we position them? I would recommend perhaps placing them over there in the corner so they don't obstruct anything and appear awkward. Very well then. I am completely convinced that afterward we will address our furniture before we open the doors to the public at this specific location. Speaking of which, let's quickly close the door here. At this particular juncture, our furniture should indeed be visible on the tablet device. Alright, let's commence with the tables. Boom, we are not going to create a significant fuss about it. Alright, then the chairs. This is rather conveniently accomplished here, isn't it? They simply need to be positioned in the appropriate spots. Once it fits perfectly, it changes to a light green color, and then the entire setup stands like that once, twice. Let's make our exit from this place before we inadvertently enclose ourselves. 3 and 4. Fortunately, we already possess a few seating arrangements totaling 8 spots altogether. Indeed, the remainder will need to gather around at the counter, correct? There's truly nothing quite like an enjoyable conversation in the meantime. So the question now is, do we possess everything necessary? Are we prepared? Indeed, as I mentioned earlier, we shall not commence renovations at this time as it remains far too premature for any expansions as well. In that case, I would suggest that we commence the shift, and you traditionally begin it here with the ringing of the bell, which I find to be quite fascinating. So, would you be interested in initiating the first shift? We are moving forward in this manner currently. 8. What? 8 in the morning? Indeed, we actually open the establishment at 8 o'clock in the morning. Wow, that is indeed exceptionally dynamic. All right, let us observe what and who arrives and is already enjoying a refreshing beer early in the morning. Certainly, quite earnestly, he proceeds directly to the bar at either 8 or 9 o'clock in the early morning. We don't even have slot machines yet. That's a question. Will we later have additional income opportunities like slot machines or something like that? That would indeed be quite interesting to know, but what the heck? We'll eventually find out. We're currently on day one. Oh, look, the very first customer. The very first customer. Attention, attention. Here we go. So, what does he want? He wants a Costas on it, and that's what he'll get. The draft, as mentioned, is the draft beer, so we need to take a glass and, of course, pour the right beer here. It costs that, and then it will be filled. Exactly 500 ml, as it should be. So, and then it will, of course, be served. So, we still need to do that, of course. I hope, as I said, that we get some support there. There's the cash, it goes straight to the register. So, then we still need to carefully provide the appropriate amount of change here. $9 and some additional coins, 10, 25, 6, absolutely perfect. Distribute the change accurately, and that's the completion of the transaction. So, what exactly does he desire in this particular situation? An exceptionally cool and stylish slide. These were the white-colored ones, correct? Yes, here you are. He gets something, but he doesn't have anything smaller here. What's this? So, and 56 cents. Oh dear, I am definitely not a currency exchange service provider here. Therefore, the esteemed and highly regarded Beineken. Let's go ahead and get started. Bam. It's quite amazing, isn't it? How many people already get wasted here in the morning, although it's already afternoon. Oh, time goes by relatively fast, doesn't it? I hadn't anticipated that it would proceed so swiftly at this point in time. Just one day, but that's all right. So let's observe how we handle it. I haven't seen anything that lets you adjust time to run slower or faster. In any circumstance, we require a total of $37 and just end my situation now. So here are 2, 4, and 6. Oops, slightly too much, but I can spare that 1 cent. There was a minor mistake there. So it stays the same, yes, sir, but as always, you're welcome. Cheers. Indeed, the business is slowly gaining momentum here, which I find to be quite advantageous. So, when you begin to get into the rhythm slightly, like Pinbaniken, just position yourself correctly for cashing between the guest and the register, approximately at counter height. Then, what precisely did he desire? Position your feet accurately, and then you won't have to move excessively while handling transactions, particularly during busier periods. It conserves a bit of time. Just a small piece of advice from me. You're welcome. Wow, it is already becoming quite bustling here. 7:20, 1, 2, 3, 4. Next in line, please Costas, specifically Costas draft. Having a dedicated server would not be a bad idea, particularly for efficiently managing the tables and such. It is manageable for the moment, but you can definitely tell it takes some time for the initial guests of the day to arrive. We must ensure we keep up swiftly enough, and 74 fits. You can always observe the ratings above the head, indicating how they perceive the service. Consequently, there is a reputation with the guests who will hopefully return. 56? Yes, he is quite satisfied. The prices are acceptable. They even find it somewhat inexpensive, so we might consider adjusting the prices slightly. What did you want, colleague Costas? Indeed, time appears to fly by swiftly, and it's almost concluded once more. When you work in this particular manner, the day tends to pass by quite rapidly, doesn't it? Oh, a card payment is coming through. Hold on a moment. Okay, we need to enter it manually now. 10. Yes, remember to return the card, otherwise there might be some complications. Cool slide. This could potentially become a new bestseller here, the cool slide. Or perhaps another money changer here, can't be? So 50 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There you go. Goodbye. They perceive everything as inexpensive. I need to consider raising the prices. So that's a significant hint. If they mention it's extremely cheap, then theoretically we should be able to adjust the prices, correct? Indeed, he also mentions that it is exceptionally affordable, all right? So, Beineken, we shall remember that at the conclusion of the day. All right, that ought to be quite sufficient for Mr. Rise at this particular moment. So, here you go. So 5, 6, 7, 50, 60, 70. I sincerely did not wish for that at all. I aimed to distribute coins, goodness, that nearly transformed into a complete disaster. I would have faced a real loss here, which we definitely do not want, or perhaps brought his twin along, Beineken. Yes, naturally. Now I've just gotten slightly confused. Apologies. It will take a little longer. I've gotten a bit turned around. Oh, I have just realized up there we are supposed to close the door to conclude the day. However, naturally, I still wish to provide them with their beer since they are standing so nicely. Nevertheless, on the other hand, we likely will not reach a conclusion because individuals continue to come in. At this specific moment in time, I still require 74 here. All right, goodbye. Well, it's precisely midnight, and I'm uncertain whether I should be concerned about the cost of a bottle since I do not have it. I only possess something that is somewhat similar to it. Indeed, we have something that is quite similar. We possess it on draft. Therefore, in actuality, we can undoubtedly acquire Costas as bottled items, that's quite evident. But at this precise moment, it is not especially easy for us. Thus 39, 20, 30, 35, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 5, 6. And then we certainly have it. And voila, here you are. So, you're the last one here now because otherwise it's getting to be too much for me and we should be closing soon. Therefore, kindly avoid activating the pulse light any further, ladies and gentlemen. Or rather, wait a moment. With the bell there, I saw something in the background. I can ring in one last round. Hold on. Does it work here right away? We need to test it right away. 2, 4, because then no one else will arrive with additional orders. It's awkward when you still have guests standing here and can't serve anything anymore. So, hold on a moment. I have discovered new cobwebs once more. So, last orders, particularly Beineken, young gentleman, not too bad for the initial day, correct? We must comprehensively assess how the sales are progressing. Of course, we also have costs, that's quite obvious. But indeed, with the card, we just need to determine what is left. 12.56 appears to be quite a steep price, I believe, for a single beer. Oh, hold on a moment. I made an error. My apologies. 26 is certainly not 56. What am I even saying here? There you have it. Consequently, I would suggest that you take your time to thoroughly enjoy your beverage while we commence the process of cleaning up this establishment. It hasn't even been a full day, and we already have cobwebs forming. What exactly is going on with everyone? I genuinely hope he is able to complete his beer promptly. Oh my, whether it happens here, or maybe even in the back area as well. Oh goodness, could it potentially be because of the lack of fresh wallpaper or a newly installed flooring? I am uncertain, but we shall discover it over time, dear friends. I sincerely hope that our colleague completes his tasks here shortly. Let's swiftly review our inventory. I believe it should suffice for the following day, and then indeed, let's conclude the day for today. Ah, yes, he is departing. Have a pleasant day, and kindly avoid using the door, as it does not present well. Now, let's examine the situation. Naturally, we incurred expenses on the initial day. We purchased supplies, engaged in some renovations, acquired tables and chairs, and of course, as I mentioned, the beers and assorted drinks. So, a profit of 1328.48, and we received 163.53. What are wages? Oh, that's rent, correct? 250 is considered to be on a daily basis, correct? It ought to be on a monthly basis, shouldn't it? In any event, we have effectively managed to serve a total of 15 patrons at this particular location. Our overall reputation presently stands at 221, with the current reputation being 114, and the subsequent milestone is set at 121. As our reputation enhances, the level of our bar correspondingly elevates, which you can observe up here on the left side. I would recommend that we proceed with an additional day here. Fortunately, I tidied up yesterday, and there seem to be no new cobwebs, which is quite a relief. So the door is closed, and it appears to be in satisfactory condition, doesn't it? 6,000 out of a total of 7,500 milliliters remain, Bennikin, which should indeed be sufficient for today. Moreover, we have already consumed the bottled beverages here, and that appears to be in excellent condition as well. Therefore, I would suggest that we commence the day shift. Wouldn't you agree? Therefore, I sincerely hope that the music is indeed royalty free. Otherwise, we might find ourselves in a somewhat challenging predicament here. In any case, I inquired with my colleagues regarding whether the music is royalty free, but regrettably, I have not yet received a response. Consequently, we have to accept the situation as it currently stands. I mean, what is the worst possible outcome? That they might revoke my monetization. However, it's merely a singular episode, correct? I don't make a living from this, you know? That is entirely acceptable. Then I shall be more attentive for the next opportunity, correct? At the very least, the team members ought to have responded to me, but as I mentioned previously, it's merely two colleagues managing the entire studio, so Bainikin, as I stated before, just the two of them, which I believe is quite a considerable workload. So Bainiken early in the morning in Bainiken, the situation is indeed challenging. So here you are, change $7.74, 50, 60, 70. Here you go. Cheers. So Beineken, it progresses with Beineken. So you truly appear to experience days where there's a noticeably more substantial heavy-duty drop, and on other days there's more bottled beer, with certain distinctive brands being selected more frequently each day, which I find quite amusing. Here you are, sir. Kindly don't forget the gratuity, all right? Exceptionally noteworthy. So 50, 60, 70, 1, 2, 3, 4. Here you are. The next individual in line, please, Pinnikin. Consequently, Beineken is indeed the midday phenomenon here, isn't it? or rather, it has evolved into the afternoon phenomenon once again by this moment, because now, being at such a considerable distance, perhaps it possesses a somewhat intense aroma. I'm not entirely certain. So 20, 30, 5, 6, 7, once more 74. Here you go. Your change. You're most welcome. Now they're really running us down. But I don't have the Saroni drop. I do apologize, at least not at this particular moment. So Bane can either choose a bottled beverage or a pin, all right? Because we don't have bottles available. What I'm currently observing is that there aren't truly that many distinctive characters here, correct? They possess a tendency to replicate themselves at a considerably swift pace, so it would be quite intriguing if they could potentially incorporate a few more diverse and varied characters. Up to this particular juncture, they all seem to be quite content, which I believe is indeed a positive indication. It's becoming rather late, nearly 8 o'clock, so we should ensure to verify at the conclusion if we can make any adjustments to the timing. I find the day, or rather, the evening appears to be progressing at an exceptionally swift pace. So, in order to truly ensure a significant profit, are you aware of what I've noticed lately? We have not yet modified the pricing for the beers, which was something we planned to achieve before wrapping up our shift today, or rather, shortly thereafter, prior to commencing the new day, let's propose we attempt with an additional dollar, or at the very least 50 cents more, to ascertain how much they are willing to pay so we can recuperate our previous investments. We also aim to eventually renovate to enhance the appearance a bit. So, Beineken is indeed the best seller. I definitely need to reorder it. Otherwise, they primarily consume Costas. It's just one of those days when you require the other options. So 20, 30, 35, 6, 37, 50, 20, and 4 cents. We are already ringing the bell so they don't overrun us here, and we can't serve anything further. However, I think it's quite cool that the bell functions, because then no additional guests should enter, and we just finish serving the ones we currently have, and then it's done. We can definitely work with that. So far, we've been able to satisfy all the guests, which I consider a positive sign. It's nice. We never run out of glasses. Fantastic. Great setup. It's almost magical. I truly need someone to clear the tables, as I can't manage that during the normal course of the day. Definitely not. I have enough to do with pouring the beers. I'm pleased that our guests have taken to it so swiftly here. Adios. So, Costas, Finally, Acosta, since I think the cleaning or maybe Benniken, apologies, I mentioned the incorrect thing. I think we're running low on that. Yes, you're observing the clock. I've been off work for quite a while, friends, so let's resolve this. Oops, what just transpired? I apologize sincerely. Just experiencing a momentary fainting episode. Here is 26 cents. Thank you immensely, and goodbye. So, the last beers here, ladies and gentlemen, come and get them. Legs are able to function once more, and I sincerely hope that suffices for every single one of the excavators. How many guests remain with us? 2 additional ones are on their way. Alas, it's completely gone. It's entirely gone. It's already completely gone. Oh my goodness gracious, here comes Chris without any charge. She just looks at us very sheepishly. I do not have confidence that this particular endeavor is going to achieve success. And now, at this precise moment, I possess the capability to offer something different. Hold on for a moment. What should I do with this glass here? Is it destined to remain here indefinitely, or should I simply place it over there? I could offer her something else, although I do not provide anything without charge. And what if it proves ineffective later on? No, we will just cease operations here. So 119.56, aha. Therefore, we need to bring in additional resources. There is no alternative. Why have we only managed to serve merely 10 visitors? That seemed to be a significantly larger amount, indeed. Nonetheless, prior to commencing the new day, it is imperative that we thoroughly organize this disarray here first, as it holds considerable significance. Otherwise, there is no purpose in initiating the new day if it appears cluttered beneath the sofa. No one will enter. So, what action should we take with this glass here? Could someone kindly inform me? Is there a specific place where I can properly dispose of this item? Can I drink this myself? What I am unable to achieve, observe here, the manager has the opportunity to indulge himself. Indeed, you must occasionally treat yourself. So, what shall we do with this unoccupied keg? It needs to be positioned somewhere. Do we simply select the next least favorable option and place it outside? I mean, it absolutely has to be removed. It really has to be removed. I can't just leave it here, nor can I leave it there, and I certainly can't place it outside. So, regrettably, we must repurpose our office space. Does anyone actually come to pick it up? Seriously, does anyone come to pick it up? I haven't commenced the new day yet. The day itself, yes, but not the shift, correct? All right, nothing has transpired yet. I merely wanted to ensure that time doesn't begin to elapse before we're adequately prepared. That wouldn't be favorable. So we still have Costas, and we also possess that other beer, Beineken, which we absolutely require. Let's proceed and order Costas with beers. It should suffice for at least one day. So let's prioritize that. Costas and wines once, and as I mentioned, we still have bottled beer. We can't afford to hire staff until level 5. Hold on, we're currently at level 4. Alright, so theoretically, at the subsequent level, we could afford staff, which is quite advantageous, I believe. Now let's review our order. There it is. Quickly place it in. Yes, precisely. And the beneficial aspect is now I must organize a bit. Where are the full kegs with me and where are the empty kegs? Because now I must somehow accommodate this within the office here. I'll put the full ones on the right side and the empty ones on the left. But how do I get rid of them? That's the next question. Normally, I would have thought that the lessons would be included with the delivery. I would have originally thought something along those lines, but no, not in the slightest bit. So we have placed an order for everything, kind of. Oh, indeed, the costs. Everyone, the costs, before proceeding with anything else here. The costs, so if we are exceptionally frugal here, then we can include something additional, correct? I would say so. 200%, quite impressive, maybe a bit greedy, right? The regular price is $10.74. We should definitely take an additional step forward. We certainly do not want to overdo it, but if everyone is saying it is so incredibly inexpensive, you must absolutely respond to that. Alright, I believe the tasks for the initial day are now entirely finished. Let's undertake an enjoyable and thorough exploration of our magnificent pub here. Is this a residential area here, or? Certainly that was indeed the inaugural episode of our Hound and Heron pub sim. Please feel free to express your thoughts in the comments section about how you're enjoying the game and what your overall impressions are. I hope you'll be there next time as well, and I hope we can steer the whole year in the right direction and make it a really nice place, right? If you enjoyed it, feel free to give a thumbs up, ring the bell, subscribe, you know the drill. In that sense, thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye.